Hello, how's everybody doing? Let's just take a look here real quick. See what's happening. Hello? Chat replay. What the fuck? Just now. 6 seconds. What in the actual fuck is going on? So it says I'm live. Oh, there we go. Am I actually live though? Let's see. Well, it's showing up, so that's a good sign. All right. Well, looks like it's working. Okay. Let's turn it away so it's not so blinding ass light behind us there. So I'm lying in bed snoozing away there. And rolled over to check the phone because it kept beeping, and there was like all these people in the world flipping out about some update to Dead by Daylight, so I thought I'd take a look, see what the hell's going on. Alright, you need to be quiet because I don't need to hear you talking. So the blood web change. So we're going to go through everything here just to read it over and see what's going on. Blood web chain is getting its update, which is cool. Select any node in the thing and it'll automatically just buy everything in a straight line towards it. This allows you to purchase multiple nodes with a single button press and ensures that you can get exactly what you want. However, the entity is ever present and may consume one of these nodes before the chain can be completed, so plan wisely. So yeah, you still have to, have a clear strategy as to where you want your thing to go, but yeah. Which makes sense, but yeah, that will make things go faster. That's definitely something I'll use. Automatic purchase. If you're just looking to level up your character quickly and cheaply, you can just tap the center of the blood web, and it'll just start buying everything in every direction, going with the cheapest options available. So you may want to purchase anything of interest, such as perks first, before you tap that button and just let it go willy-nilly in every direction. But yeah, that'll definitely speed up the blood web spending. To ensure players familiarize themselves with the contents of the blood web, this button, so the fast buying option, will only appear once you have prestiged your character for the first time. So you still have to buy your way through a blood web once. I think you could do away with that in the sense that what I would do is if you have an account, and if you have any character already prestiged at all, killer or survivor, then just have it unlocked for everybody, because if you prestiged a character once, it's not going to be different for another character, so you're going to know how it works. So I would just do it that way, just to save people the irritation. That's how I would change that, but other than that, that sounds pretty normal. By default, you need to hold the button to purchase the node. Well, this can help prevent misclicks. Sometimes you want to watch the blood points fly from your pockets at an alarming rate. Yeah, okay, more on the same shit. Visual terror radius. The terror radius is an integral part of the game, both warning survivors about the approaching killer and activating multiple perks. This can make things difficult for deaf or hard of hearing players since there's no visual representation of the terror radius's strength, forcing them to use perks which work in the terror radius as an alternative. But this is not ideal. So now we will have access to the visual terror radius. So you see the person's heart glowing through their inside their chest, which is like right there. So you see you'll see your own heart beating, and it'll get more intense the closer the killer gets to you. So you'll know visually to get the hell out of Dodge. And now I'm getting a phone call, because of course I am. Hello?
Hey, how's it going?
It's fine. I'm just sitting here starting a little stream to do about a Dead by Daylight update. What's up?
Oh, I was just calling to double check because I did see you started a stream. I wanted to make sure Jackie didn't just pick you up and took you to get your game after all.
No,
So,
you were going to
okay.
do that, right?
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to make sure plans didn't change, so I
No.
didn't go to the mall for nothing.
Nope.
Okay,
Don't forget
heading out now.
don't forget the 3 tacos. Oops.
3 tacos, meat, and extra cheese.
Thank you, and I love you.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. The wife. All right. So, back to the thing here. So we have the visual terror radius. Yeah, when you enable the accessibility options, the heart will appear in your survivor's chest whenever the killer terror radius can be heard. Lullabies will also appear as a haze in the chest. That's interesting. This heart will become more vibrant and beat more intensely the closer the killer comes to you. Makes sense. If your character is off screen, an indicator will appear if the terror radius is heard, signaling that you should look at your character to see the current state of the terror radius visual feedback. For those who may need it, the heart will also be affected by color blindness settings to ensure that it is adequately visible. So that's pretty cool. And then it shows the 4 different sort of color, whatever. But, okay. This option will not provide a competitive advantage compared to the usual audio terror radius and will respect any terror radius perks, add-ons, and powers. So basically, if you're running like overcharge, or not overcharge. Oh my god. What the hell? If you're running the Executioner perk that hides your terror radius after you kick a generator and you become undetectable until you injure somebody, that will still apply to you. The heart won't beat, and you'll be able to sneak out. So, obviously that's a good thing. You want that to be what's happening. AutoHaven Wreckers map updates. This update will feature balance updates to 2 AutoHaven Wrecker maps, Blood Lodge and Glass Heaven. Blood Lodge can be a bit of a mixed bag depending on how the map generates. There can be plenty of safe pallets near the center or very few, creating either a very safe or a dead zone. This area also has very few line of sight blockers, which make it difficult for stealthy killers to sneak up on survivors. Around the edge of the map, on the other hand, features several maze tiles, high walls, and pallets and windows. Clever survivors can combine these tiles to create stronger loops, making them very difficult to catch. To remedy this, we are making significant layout changes to the map. The Blood Lodge itself will now appear closer to the center of the map. That's interesting, breaking up line of sight and separating some of the safer loops. The maze tiles have also been separated from one another, making it more difficult to combine them together. That's very interesting. I don't know if bringing the Blood Lodge into the center would break the loops up. Because I find that, going through the center, I hear you. It can be very much a dead zone. But at the same time, having the house there, you could loop through the house, vault out the top floor, and then just immediately go into another set of loops. I don't see how that's, yeah. I don't see how that separates some of the loops. If anything, I think that's connecting them better. Right? Because I personally find that, I can loop. I'm terrible at looping for the most part, but I can usually run a slight loop through the outer thing. And if you throw that house into the middle that I can go inside the house as well, that's like a whole nother level of interesting. So, I don't know. I'm not a huge looper myself, which is why I try to focus more on urban evasion and things to hide, because I'm not as great at looping. So, but even that kind of makes me think, I don't know if that's going to make it easier or harder to separate the loops. I don't think adding the house to the middle, which is more cover and more, loops in the center of a dead zone, is making it less dead. Well, I mean, it's making it less dead, but I don't see how that's separating the outer loops more. If anything, it's going to give you the ability to cut straight through the map to the other side without, as much hassle. But whatever, I guess we'll see what happens. Yes, Heaven features unique car piles which stretch several tiles long. Yeah, okay, yeah, tiles, which apparently is a thing, I don't even know how the fuck big a tile in the game is, but I know what they're referring to. They're referring to that giant long ass fucking thing of cars that's usually on one side of the map. Chasing a survivor around these walls can also waste a lot of time if they start the chase with a significant lead. Absolutely. And it does make it difficult to traverse the map. Going forward, these car piles will be broken into smaller single tile chunks. That's a good idea all around. These car piles will also feature potential spawn locations for pallets, helping to introduce the potential for dead zones to appear, or helping reduce the potential for dead zones to appear. Yeah, those if you're the killer and you catch somebody beside that really long stretch of broken cars, they can be really fucked. And if you're the survivor running away, like especially me, like I just said, I'm not that great at looping. Yeah, if I'm going through there, I'm screwed because I need like anything to maneuver around, and having the big long flat ass wall is just like I'm so screwed when I get caught there. So I'm happy to see that that's broken up, and it's good for the killer too because yeah, if you see somebody creeping around the far side, now you can just cut through the center and head them off at the pass, so to speak. Throughout the realm, some of these changes will spill over into the remaining Auto Heaven and Wrecker maps, including new edge tiles, blah blah blah, which include new gameplay such as possible pallets, yada yada. Alright, so here's the big talk of the town that's got everybody freaking out. Well, one of the things that has everybody freaking out. Healing is actually getting substantially messed with. They're nerfing healing a lot. So let's get into that. There's no better way to avoid being put on a hook than healing your injuries. Even if the killer is relentless, an extra health state can buy your team more time to work on generators. Very, very true. An emergency med kit alone can heal the damage done after a long chase in roughly 10 seconds. This doesn't even begin to factor in all sorts of perks and add-ons which can speed up healing even further and grant more heals before your med kit is depleted. And then there's that perk that I started using recently where you go in the locker and you replenish your health kit. I've been using that one quite a bit lately actually, which I had never done before. But yeah, so for killers, this means any chase that doesn't end with a hook, even if they manage to damage the survivor, can be completely undone in a matter of seconds. Absolutely true. Keeping survivors injured and switching targets are often wise decisions, and with this in mind, we have a few changes in store for healing to make this more practical. First, healing will now take 24 seconds by default. Previously, it was 16 seconds. This will make each hit more impactful, ensuring that survivors need to spend longer to heal their wounds. So that's actually a pretty substantial hit for healing. Healing already, like with self-care, takes a long time, and we're going to get into self-care here in a minute, but healing will take 24 seconds by default, and that's using a health kit, right? Second, we have rebalanced med kits across the board. All med kits will now have 24 charges by default, allowing one full heal before they are depleted. The different rarities of med kits are as follows. Camping first aid kit, the most common one, increases healing speed by 20%. It was 25. First aid kits are healing speed 25% and used to be 35%. Emergency med kits are 30% and they were 50%. And they no longer increase the speed at which you heal yourself. So that's like a 20% stab to that one. And then the Ranger med kit, which is the very rare med kit, the best one, increases healing speed by 35%, used to be 50. Increases skill check success zones by 10%, used to be 14. And increases great skill checks by 10%, was 15. Lastly, we have done a pass on medkit add-ons, bringing those which were overperforming in line with the rest. Add-ons which add more charges to your medkit have also been reviewed with the new healing time in mind, though it is now impossible for a medkit to fully heal a survivor more than twice in a match. So even if I get into a locker and recharge my med kit now, it won't. It'll only heal me fully twice, and after that, it'll never do it again. So that's actually that's a mixed bag for me. As I say, I'm terrible at looping, so I usually will carry a med kit, depending on if I'm trying to do certain challenges and whatever, right? But yeah, no, I have been running the med kits, and like I said, I'm running that recharge where you get in the locker to recharge your med kit. I've been running that too. But yeah, so you're only gonna get 2 full heals out of a med kit now before it's dead. That can go really fast. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that changes things up. I know that killer mains are probably very happy about that. I am a killer main for the most part. I consider myself to be, though I do equally play probably easily just as much Survivor. And when I do play Survivor, I like my med kits. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that one goes. Yeah. Perk updates. So here we go. Now we're getting into the really juicy stuff that's flipping people out. Because Dead Hard and Boon Circle of Healing have all been nerfed. Dead Hard nerfed a second time, but we'll get to that one. Gearhead currently reveals the aura of the next survivor to hit a great skill check after a survivor loses a health state. So basically you hit a survivor, well the next survivor who gets a great skill check on something, you'll see their aura. These conditions require quite a bit of work and luck on the killer's part to get value out of it. That is very true. Gearhead will receive a slight rework. When a survivor loses a health state, Gearhead activates for 30 seconds. While active, any survivor who hits a good skill check, not a great skill check, just a good skill check, will have their aura revealed to the killer for 6, 7, and 8 seconds. That's actually, I've looked at Gearhead before as a perk I thought about running, but I never ran it simply because it is very reliant on them hitting a great skill check. And I hit great skill checks, fairly often, I suppose, but at the same time, not really often enough that it would really give my position away. But the fact that Gearhead will activate for 30 seconds, and if I happen to hit a good skill check, which that's very likely, you're either going to hit great or good. So, I mean, come on. While active, any survivor who hits that will have their aura revealed for 6, 7, or 8 seconds. So that's even better than barbecue and chili, I think, yes? That could be really rough. Especially if you have like multiple people working on separate generators and you start seeing their auras. And I think if you ran something like Tinkerer or whatever, you would see which generator has the most progress, and you would see the people working on it, right? So you would know, hey, there's like 2 people over there. So I think that perk you're going to see a lot more of now. Because you're definitely going to hit people. So... And if you have a lot of, if people are gen rushing, there's a lot of times as a killer you come to a generator and there's 2 people working on it. right? Or maybe you only see the one and you chase them away and the other person's hiding around the corner. Even I do that as a survivor. I walk around the corner, they chase the person who stayed on the generator away, then I creep back around the corner and keep working the gen. So if I hit that person with my weapon, the one I chase away, and I turn around and that person's back on the generator and they hit the skill check, I'm going to see their aura and I'm going to know they're there. There's not going to be any hiding. So, yeah, that'd be interesting. Overzealous grants a repair speed bonus when cleansing a totem and a larger bonus when cleansing hex totems. Little did we know the skirmishes this would cause between the boon lovers out there. Moving forward, Overzealous will also activate when blessing a totem in addition to cleansing it. We've also slightly increased the bonus. So it's 8, 9, and 10 up from 6, 7, and 8. So everything went up 2%. So Overzealous got a buff. I never really used Overzealous myself, but it's a buff instead of a nerf. So that's probably got a few people happy, right? Here's a big one. Scourge Hook Pain Resonance. This perk has gradually found its way into the meta. To address this, we have given Scourge Hook a slight rework. The perk starts with 4 tokens. The first time each survivor is hooked on a Scourge Hook, the generator with the most progress will explode and lose progress. We've also reduced the difference between the different tiers of the perk. So now it's 11, 13, and 15% instead of it always being the same percentage. That's a substantial hit to that perk, because now basically you only get to use it 4 times in a match, and after that you're screwed. And you can only use it, like, if you're the sort of killer who tunnels a lot, you're only going to get to use it the one time. Because if you're tunneling a survivor, you want to leave that survivor and get after a different one so you can get the hook and get the value out of it. So in a way, I think it almost encourages tunneling, now that I think about it. Because if I'm a killer and I can only use that once for each survivor, it almost makes more sense to tunnel somebody out. You get that first initial blast, right? You put them on the hook and they die. And then, but by this point, maybe 2 gens have popped or something, right? So now you leave and you go after, but the very next person you put on the hook is going to blow a gen somewhere else with the most progress. And if you run your other perks, like the frickin', oh god, the one where, sorry, I'm terrible with the frickin' perk names, okay? I don't memorize this shit because I don't care that much. But the one where if somebody stops repairing the generator, the entity blocks it. You, as a killer, you would see that, right? So if you paired that with Pain Resonance, you would blow the gen with the most progress, and then you would see it covered so you would know where people were. So, yeah, Pain Resonance would take is taking a pretty substantial hit. That's one that I have. I can't even say that I use it as much as I probably should. And it's, as they say in here, it's gradually found its way back into the meta. Meta being, the fucking overly used perks. I get a lot of recommendations for a lot of builds that say to use Pain Resonance, and I don't really freaking use it. Since its first nerf the last time, where they took away your ability to see the generator that explode, and you just sort of know what happened. Like, you hear the person scream, and you have to go find them, but you don't see the explosion. It's kind of, yeah, interesting to see it getting nerfed a second time. But yeah, so you only get to use it 4 times in a match. And if you don't hook everybody in the match at least once, you only get to use it however many, you get to use it less. So that one's definitely going to be used a lot. That one's going to disappear quite a bit, I think. Here we go, Dead Hard, the famous one that everybody loves. Dead Hard, the one that people will literally just, go to the mattresses for. So Dead Hard initially fell from grace after the 6.1.0 update. It has steadily climbed back into being one of the most prominent Survivor perks. Very true. I remember they nerfed the Dead Hard the first time, and yeah, it disappeared quite a bit, but now I do see it almost as frequently as I used to. It is very true, because the people who really were hell-bent on using Dead Hard and they were very committed, they relearned it and learned how to turn it back into what it used to be. Not completely. I find, yeah, the people who do use the Dead Hard now can. I'd say probably out of the 4 survivors on a match, if they were all running it, I'd say maybe half of them can run it as effectively as they used to, which is still a substantial portion, uh, if that. So yeah. I'd have to review some of my most recent killer matches because I've seen a lot of people using it in there, but I've seen a lot of people, just they don't use it as effectively as they used to. But at any rate, Dead Hard already requires some precision to use, and further reducing the invulnerability window would make it far too unreliable and frustrating. Therefore, Therefore, Dead Hard has also received a slight rework. Dead Hard will now only activate after you have safely unhooked a survivor. When activated, the active ability button while injured, running, and blah blah blah. And then you become exhausted. Dead Hard will deactivate when successfully protects the user from damage. So that's really interesting that they've nerfed Dead Hard. The general consensus online is Dead Hard is officially dead now. I don't think so. As I said, all those people who are hell-bent on using Dead Hard and relearned how to make it as effective as it used to be, because they're still there. And like I said, and like they even say here, that Dead Hard has been slowly growing back into high prominence. Those people who are that dedicated, they will find a way to make this work. Okay, they're gonna do it. I think what's gonna happen though is they're gonna be a lot. Not only are they gonna be Dead Hard, but you're probably gonna see them using Boil Over and Deliverance and things like that to sort of protect themselves, because like Deliverance, I've started using Deliverance myself recently. That's why I know the name of that one, because I'm using it. If I don't use the perks, I may know what the perks do, but I don't know the corresponding names. But yeah, Dead Hard is like Deliverance now. So Deliverance is, of course, you unhook somebody, and then the next time the killer hooks you, you can just pull yourself off the hook, right? Well, Dead Hard, you have to do the same thing now. You have to get a hook save first before you can Dead Hard. So that's going to really put a dampener on people who are using it. Yeah. You're definitely... I feel like this is the nerf it should have had the first time. And I think that would have made it a lot easier to swallow for people this time, because they just nerfed it and now they're nerfing it again. And it's like Pain Resonance that we just read about earlier. They nerfed that one earlier and now they're nerfing it again, which is pissing people off. Again, I personally never relied too heavily on Pain Resonance. And Dead Hard, I actually unlocked Dead Hard and started just getting the hang of sort of how it worked right before they nerfed it the first time, or announced they were going to nerf it the first time, and I stopped using it because I was like, well, if they're going to screw with it, I'm just not going to even bother anymore. And here they are nerfing it again, so I'm just like, yeah, it honestly doesn't change my gaming all that much. And it's like you said, well, if you're bad at looping, why didn't you use Dead Hard? Well, I didn't want to become reliant on something that was going to get nerfed, and then there you have it. It got nerfed again now. So there's no way that I would go for an unhook to unlock Deliverance for myself, because that gets me off of a hook. Dead Hard only gives me the ability to maybe dodge an attack or maybe a down. I'm not going to go to an unhook potentially so that I can maybe not get hit later, right? So that's a hell of a trade-off. So Dead Hard really has no use to me. I was considering actually a lot lately, seeing how it was climbing back into prominence again, considering, well, if people are using it effectively again, obviously I just have to learn how to do it. So I could probably do that. But now that it's been nerfed again, I'm just like, yeah, nah. Not interested. But yeah. So that's very interesting. Dead Hard has been, given another kick in the ass. So this will put a damper on how often Dead Hard can be used, keeping it as a powerful reward for survivors who have earned it, which I think that's very true. Call of the Brine is getting a kick in the ass. Call of the Brine rose in popularity following the meta shakeup last year, granting a large increase to the regression rate of generators. It's not uncommon for a generator to fully regress once a survivor is chased away. To tone down its power, we have reduced the regression speed. So originally it was 150, 175, and 200%. That is how fast the generators regress with it currently. It will now be 115, 120, and 125. So it's gone down by 75%, which is a lot. And I actually kind of didn't use Call of the Brine as much, but the few killers I kind of tried to use it on, there you have it. Not really worth much of it now. Yeah, 125%. I mean, that's still good, but Hex Ruin went down to like, what was it, 100%? And I just stopped using it because it wasn't worth it. Not to mention, people can just find the totem and destroy it relatively easily, and that's it. So, Call of the Brine, at least they can't break your totem, so you could kick the generator and still get some juice out of it, but that is a substantial loss. So good news for survivors, bad news for killers. Similar to Call of the Brine, Overcharge saw a similar rise in power over the last year. It also increases the regression rate of generators pretty substantially. To bring it in line with the other perks, we reduced the maximum regression speed to 130, down from 200. So it took 70%. This would make it take longer for the regression rate to become beneficial. So at the same time, we've increased the starting regression speed to 85%. It was 75. So that one went down that one went up. So I guess that's okay. They kicked it down somewhere and then spruced it up in another spot. I don't know if that'll really make it. Overcharge I've barely used. I don't even use it with my doctor. Holy crap. So I don't know if I would use it. Yeah. I don't know how badly that would affect me. This one absolutely affects me, and this one is devastating. Boon Circle of Healing. This perk has become the jack of all trades of healing perks, and I completely agree with that. After they nerfed self-care at the last time, I stopped using self-care because it was too slow, and it took so long to heal that you were trading off so much time fixing generators in exchange for healing yourself. So it just wasn't worth it. So I started running Boon Circle of Healing. The bonus being that, well, hey, I can at the very least have to find the totem, but once I light it, I can heal at a proper, decent rate anyway, and so can everybody else. So it was kind of a good thing to have. However, not going forward, Boon Circle of Healing will no longer allow survivors to heal without a med kit. So now you can't heal in the radius anymore. There's no more running into the radius and immediately healing yourself. Instead, it provides 40, 45, or 50% healing speed to healing other people. So you're right back to square one. You have to have someone there to heal you, because the bonus will not apply to healing done with a med kit. So even though if you have your med kit, you can't suck an extra heal out of your med kit that way. So you still have to be healed by somebody else or by a med kit. The auras of injured survivors with the boon's range will be revealed to other survivors, however. So if we're both in range of the totem now, we will see each other's aura, which is good. But only if you're injured. So if we're both hurt, we can see each other. But if someone else is hurt, then I can see them, but they won't see me. So yeah, the auras of injured survivors within the boon's range will be revealed to all others, or to all other survivors. So that's good. So you'll see somebody in range of the boon now too, and you'll be like, "Oh, there's somebody over there. They need healing. I better get over there to help them if I can." That's devastating. Every one of my builds right now has Circle of Healing. So, yeah, that hurts. I think, as I've seen in a lot of other people discussing things, a lot of online opinion, you're going to see a lot of the other healing perks, like the Jill one, where you get taken off the hook and you're already at 50%. Things like that. I think those perks are going to see a huge increase in usage. I think self-care is going to come back now, because if I can't heal myself with the boon, I'm gonna take the chance and heal myself. I think with self care, it's pretty much the only way to go about it now. It's gonna be slow as hell, but it's gonna be safer than looking for a totem to light up and hope that somebody come. Like if I'm solo, who the fuck's gonna come save me? Nobody. I've fucking had games already where I've unhooked everybody else in the game at least once, and then I get downed and hooked before the final gen is put. Before the final gen pops, they pop the exit gates and they just walk out and leave me behind. What are they going to do when I light a boon for healing and I'm standing in the far corner and they're on the other side of the map doing gens? They're not going to run all the way around the map just to heal me and then go all the way back. They're going to say, just come to us and we'll just heal you on the spot. So it'll be slower or whatever maybe, but the circle of healing is all but useless. It wouldn't justify going around, and I wouldn't get off a gen to go all the way completely around the map and risk getting found, caught, killed, and hooked myself just to try to heal somebody who could just make the dangerous journey to me while I'm still getting gen progress, and then I can just heal them beside me, and then we can finish the generator together. You know? Yeah. It's that's a substantial hit for everybody. Everybody as a survivor is going to feel that, because I know a lot of other people too, with their swifts rely very heavily on a circle of healing, to be dropped by one or more of the group while the others focus on, saboing or, gen rush perks or something, right? So this is basically crippling whoever the field medic is in a swift. This is crippling it big time. So good, very, very, very good news for killers. That's for sure. Very bad news for survivors, especially me. So I'm gonna have to go in there and start mixing up my stuff now, because if this does go through, they're going to put this to PTB first. So they got to put it in the testing phase first to see how it goes over. And it's the same thing with Unbreakable. Unbreakable is supposed to become a base kit skill. Everybody can get up off the ground after 40 seconds. All the people are fighting against that, which is why it hasn't been made into the update, the game as it is now. You could very well see the same thing happened with this Dead Hard and the Boon Circle of Healing in the PTB whenever it starts up. So it's plausible that we may never see these changes, but as it is now, I feel these are a lot more likely to happen than the Mori change and the Unbreakable change and all that. So, yeah, that one, I felt that one. I didn't feel Dead Hard or Pain Resonance particularly badly, but Boon Circle of Healing, that one hit me pretty hard. That's the thing about these updates that we're going through. Hello?
Hey, so I got a call from Gabriel's not feeling well again today.
Of course not.
So I just picked him up. I'm gonna drop him and your game off at school at the house there. Taco time doesn't open until 11.
Oh, so 10 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. So I'll drop him and the game off, and by the time I get to taco time, it should be open.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, bye. Alright, so killer updates. So they're doing tweaks to various killers. Larger reworks are still planned, but we want to show some love to the growing roster along the way. So the Hillbilly. So I actually stopped reading a lot of these updates before I came here and decided to just do the video and discover the changes alongside whoever might be watching. So here we go. The Hillbilly. Start your chainsaws and don't worry about them overheating. We adjusted the Hillbilly's overheat mechanic to be much more forgiving. I don't know if it needed to be more forgiving. Okay? I've faced off, actually, surprisingly, against a whole bunch of Billies fairly lately, and they didn't need frickin' help with their overheating chainsaws. The amount of heat generated from both starting to rev and continuing to rev your chainsaw has been dramatically reduced, making the overheat mechanic almost a non-factor when used in loops and over short distances, much akin to how he used to play. So I guess he used to be like that, and he's going back to being that way now. Just as before, heat will begin to dissipate as soon as the chainsaw sprint ends, meaning most of the heat generated from a short sprint will already be gone by the time your chainsaw is ready for another attack. Which is kind of shit if you're a survivor. The amount of heat generated while chainsaw sprinting, on the other hand, has been increased slightly. Oh, thank you, little Mr. Yee. Look at that. It's here. Resident Evil 4. Scary game.
What else is there?
Nothing. Looks like a book or something. Black Adam.
Is that a book?
Yeah, it's a comic book. Swamp Thing. Okay, well that's interesting.
Mom bought it.
Cool. Well, I think it probably, yeah, whatever. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I just want to get this game downloading so that I can play it, within the next few hours. Ugh. But yeah, oh boy. That is a very interesting... This is a very interesting state of affairs, isn't it? Where the hell did the... Oh, there it is. Ugh. Turn on the old PlayStation here. Yeah. You doing your bratty ass Reno kitty? Yeah, you. So yeah. Okay, 1 second. I'm just going to quickly put this in my thing so it starts to download, and I will be right back here. What do y'all think of the changes thus far? Are they going to be fun and exciting? Are you mourning the loss of Dead by Daylight as a game and are looking for other stuff to play? Alright. Download has started. Yeah. Resident Evil 4. Ooh. So yeah, the amount of heat generated while chainsaw sprinting has been increased slightly, though the changes above will help counteract this. Longer sprints will cause your chainsaw to overheat quicker, so that's actually a good thing, because I fucking hate how the asshole can just fucking chainsaw sprint clear across the map to get places. So now if he does that incorrectly and there's nobody there, it's going to hit him in the feels a lot more, because he's not going to his chainsaw won't carry him quite as far, and it'll run out of juice. Yeah, so I guess that's kind of a good thing. So don't let it overheat in an empty corner of the map. Last but not least, we've toned down the Doom engravings and Death engraving add-ons. These provide less movement speed than before and increase heat generation further. So I guess that's a good thing too. He's getting his add-ons will probably, and I never really played with Billy because I thought he was shit, and still is in my opinion, but these add-ons will provide less movement speed. My guess is that's how so many chainsaw killers get around the map. So these add-ons are now going to slow him down even more to make it less worth the while of doing these things. So that's a good thing. The Pig. The John's Medical File add-on for the Pig's crouched movement speed. The add-on hasn't been performing well, so we decided to nerf it. So we've increased the add-on's movement speed bonus. That's funny. This add-on hasn't been performing well, so we decided to nerf the Pig. It looks like it was a misprint. So yeah, the add-on hasn't been performing well, so we increased the add-on's movement speed bonus to 10%. It was 6%, which makes a lot more sense because 10% isn't all that much, and 6% is pretty shit. The Oni. Two of the Oni's add-ons, the Toenail and the Bloody Sash, allow him to move faster while absorbing blood orbs, losing less ground in the process. These add-ons were not performing as well, so we've given them some improvements. They will now increase movement speed while absorbing by 0.4 meters per second and 0.7 meters per second, respectively. Okay. So they went up 1% each, they went up 0.1% each, because apparently that's gonna fucking make the world a difference. The Nightmare. The Nightmare's Sheep Block and Unicorn Block add-on to inflict blindness on survivors who trigger dream snares or pallets. These add-ons weren't doing so well, so we've increased the duration of the blindness status effect on each of these by 30 seconds. That's pretty cool, especially because I play Freddy. So that's kind of cool. I never really use those add-ons anyway, I don't think, so whatever. But hey, a buff is a buff. The Executioner. So Pyramid Head's Scarlet Egg add-on increases the duration of Killer Instinct inflicted by Rites of Judgment. This doesn't provide much value since Killer Instinct only updates its position periodically. To make it more meaningful, we are increasing this bonus to 3 seconds. So that's pretty cool. The Clown. The Pinky Finger add-on can be incredibly powerful, allowing the clown to instantly down a survivor after hitting them directly with a bottle. I've done that a lot. We've previously toned this add-on down by reducing the maximum number of bottles the clown can hold, but it seems like this downside was not enough to bring it in line with other ultra-rare add-ons. Going forward, this add-on will reduce the maximum held bottles by 3. It was 2. So you'll literally just have 1 bottle, no matter what happens. That's interesting. So now if you try to burn the extra thing, like what I used to do is run that Pinky Finger and then the extra bottle add-on, so you would have 2 of them. You won't be able to do that anymore. Now you're stuck with just 1. I guess that's okay. Bright light interactions. When only 3 killers were in the game, it wasn't reasonable to bring a toolbox. It wasn't unreasonable to bring a toolbox just in case you faced off against a trapper, or a flashlight to burn the wraith when it was a 1 in 3 chance. But as the killer roster has grown, these mechanics have started to feel out of place. The majority of killers do not have any interaction with survivor items, leading to the ones that do feeling unfairly punished by something beyond their control. Oh my god. In the past, we removed the ability to sabotage the trapper's bear traps. To alleviate this issue, in the update, we will be removing flashlight interactions with various killer powers. Since some of these actions aren't very well known, we'll quickly run through them. The Wraith. We removed the ability to burn the Wraith out of his cloak ability. This would also stun him in the process. So you're no longer going to be able to use your flashlight to reveal the Wraith's position anymore, which I guess is a bad thing. Personally, I never bothered shining the flashlight, and the few times I did play as the Wraith myself. What are you doing, you bratty kitty? Don't you even... You behave, Reno. In the past, when I have played Wraith a few times, when I did my Let's Learn the Wraith thing, I only got shined with a flashlight a few times, but apparently that's not going to have any effect at all now anymore, so that's kind of cool. Cat, what the fuck are you doing? Psst, you bratty ass kitty. She's just like, shut up. Alright, so no more shining the light on the Wraith when he's cloaked and bringing him out of his cloaking and stunning him in the process. Not going to happen anymore. The Nurse. Similar to the Wraith, the Nurse could also be burned while blinking. That's very interesting. This didn't come up very often since it was very risky and difficult to pull off, but it is also being removed. So that's very interesting. It's a good news for the Nurse. I didn't even know that was a thing, so... Because I can't imagine anyone suicidal enough to shine a flashlight on the Nurse when she's winding up to blink at you. That just seems to me like a crazy idea, because she's definitely going to nail you. I feel like a good nurse, and the nurses you go up against are usually really good nurses, they're going to blink and they're going to hit you. And if you're stopping to shine a light on them to try to mess with their blink, it's just... Like, yeah, like I don't see the benefit of even trying. And like I said, I have never seen anybody do it, and I didn't even know it was a thing. So I guess its disappearing isn't a big deal. But it's at the same vein, the sort of thing, well, why not just leave it in? Because if it is that hard, and like I said, I never even heard of it. I never knew a person who even tried to do it. So it would have been kind of an interesting thing to have happen at some point. There's somebody could actually pull it off. But whatever. The Artist. Survivors could shine a flashlight at crows to scare them away. This also didn't come into play very often since crows could easily be shooed away without the flashlight charges at all. So yeah, and you can get into a locker and get rid of them as well, right? So whatever. You won't be able to do that anymore with a flashlight. Can't chase the birdies away. Oh well. And the Hag, arguably the most impactful, flashlights have long been the sole counter to the Hag's phantasm traps. Not only could they reveal the aura of nearby traps, but shining a flashlight at the trap would destroy it. Removing the flashlight effect from the Hag's power is a little trickier since it would leave survivors with no option but to set off a trap and risk the Hag teleporting. To ensure this doesn't make the Hag too oppressive, we're adding the ability to wipe away a phantasm trap. So basically they're just saying, well, now it's going to be like the Trapper's Bear Trap. You just stand over it, hold the button down, and you wipe it away and it's gone. So survivors need to spot the trap, crouch over it to avoid setting it off, and perform a several second long action to clear it away. Well, this will allow all survivors to clear traps. It will now be much more difficult and time-consuming to do so. Additionally, this prevents a survivor with a flashlight from destroying the Hag's traps mid-chase, which absolutely is true, because one of the biggest things about the Hag was, yeah, if you were going to try to chase someone, they can just click the light on the thing and disappear and run right through your thing like it doesn't even matter. So, yeah, that's a very interesting thing to see... Get a kick in the ass. All right, the Deep Rift and Beyond. The deeper level of the Rift was revealed, allowing players who had already reached Tier 70 to go above and beyond and continue progressing to earn alternate versions of outfits. Starting with the Tools of Torment mid-chapter update, the Deep Rift will feature unique visuals to better differentiate the bonus Deep Rift tiers from the regular Rift. As for tomes, you may notice a new trend emerging where the most recent chapter's lore is expanded in the following tome. It's no longer a coincidence. This is something we'll be doing for all new original chapters moving forward. I kind of thought that was what they did, but I never really paid close attention myself. I just clicked on shit and bought it. But okay. This will allow us to expand further on the most recently introduced characters' lore in a more natural and exciting way. Licensed chapters, meanwhile, may be an exception to this. While we would love to expand on their stories, we have done in the past with the likes of Ghostface and Bill Overbeck. Licensed characters come from franchises of their own with their own stories to tell. Therefore, the tomes followed licensed chapters. Therefore, the tomes followed licensed chapters may feature existing original characters instead. You mean the tomes following licensed chapters? I think that's what they meant to say, right? And if you've been waiting to learn more about your favorite characters of past years, don't worry. They won't be forgotten. Other characters will be featured throughout new tomes as minor characters. This is the end of the update. Blah, blah, blah. The public test build for this will be open next week. We look forward to your feedback. Yada, yada, yada. So there you have it. Huh. Well, self-care will now take 68 seconds to heal. Add Sloppy Butcher to that and you won't see that Claudette on a generator for the rest of the match. That is very true. 68 seconds is pretty much like you get hit by Sloppy Butcher and that's the length of a generator to heal yourself. That's pretty deadly. That would be very, very, very interesting. Let's see if this game needs an update. Oh. Well, I am going to, yeah, I'm going to have to plug this. I'm going to have to unplug this, what I'm streaming through right now, and plug my cord into the PlayStation to get this download faster. But, yeah. As soon as you saw the pig, God tell me this wasn't another unwarranted nerf. Glad they are in on the joke. Huh. Yeah. It's going to be very interesting to see how a lot of this goes. Everybody's up in arms about everything right now and freaking out and blah, 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 this and that. Inner strength has become a lot more viable. I actually agree with that. That's one of the ones I was thinking out. Healing takes longer and boons are basically dead, so inner healing and overzealous are some great value now. Yeah. Hyperfocus and stakeout will be a thing. Tells me gens are about to go faster with a meta without heals. Maybe. I think Lythe would be a lot better to use now than Dead Hard, personally. I'm also reading some other people's comments here for what people are saying about things. All regression nerfs are equally dead now. We may be seeing the dawn of aura reading builds for killers. That's actually something I've been considering a lot myself lately. I've been running barbecue and chili a lot lately. Just because, especially with the nurse and all that stuff, just so I can see people. Yeah. Yeah, well, we're going to have a very interesting time. Circle of Healing is dead. Medkits have been nerfed too. Dead Hard is nerfed, although you can run other exhaustion perks and surprise them with Dead Hard after an unhook. Killers will get their gen kicking nerfed, but survivors can't easily heal away the pressure caused by injuries anymore. Will this finally cause a chase-oriented meta? Possibly. But as somebody else points out, a lot of killers are still pretty weak at chase. Not if they nerf perks that award chases. Killers will just tunnel and defend 3 gens a lot more. That seems to be a very popular opinion. 3 gen defense is going to be a lot more popular now. That's what I was doing a lot with the nurse, actually, was setting them up for a 3 gen because I couldn't stop them. And then just defending the 3 gens. That's how I got that really long and drawn out frickin' one at the map, the game the other day. Was the 3 gen, one below, one upstairs, and then one, across the room from it or whatever. But yeah, so that's interesting. Well, let me all know what you think. Check out my Facebook. All the stuff is written below. You should have read it all by now, at least once or twice. Ooh, tacos. Thank you. And I am going to, like I said, download my Resident Evil 4 update right now. It's in there, and love you.
Love you too.
And once that update is finished, then yeah, we will be, playing some Resident Evil 4. And it looks like one of my pals, Lexus, is online right now, so I might go and play a match or two with her, get in a conversation, ask her opinions on what she's thinking. I know she's probably really pissed because she's a Survivor main, absolutely across the board a Survivor main, and she's definitely going to be feeling things. She never used Dead Hard or anything like that, but Circle of Healing and all that, she's not going to be happy about those, that's for sure. I'm not happy about that one. But come what may, I don't think this is the end of Dead by Daylight like everybody's saying. People say that every time a new chapter comes out, for God's sake. This is the end. This is the beginning of the end. We're all going to die. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. And another thing is I really want to eat my tacos. Like, see, I got a taco. Okay? And tacos are freaking awesome. And it's really hot because they only just opened a few minutes ago. So I got to go and eat my tacos and get my download started. So thank you for tuning in. As I said, you should have read all my names and Discords and everything underneath my picture here in this amount of time. So there's not much to say other than thank you for following and watching. Please do follow me on all these different areas. If you haven't already, I would appreciate it. And I will see you all next stream. Thank you very much. Take care.